In February, 21-year-old Ollie Kostial was a junior at the University of Mississippi, commonly known as Ole Mississippi. She was smart, driven, and actively engaged in a variety of activities. Her college years had been thrilling, fulfilling, and full of growth. However, the bright moments of her time at Ole Miss were clouded by a tumultuous on-and-off relationship with Brandon Teisfeld. To outsiders, they appeared to be the ideal couple, but Ollie's friends were concerned about Brandon's behavior and how he treated her. They encouraged Ollie to leave him and seek someone who would treat her with the respect she deserved. Unfortunately, she didn't take their advice, which led to tragic consequences. Alexandria Ollie Kostial was born on September 11, 1997, in St. Louis, Missouri. From a young age, her lively and friendly nature shone through. She shared a close bond with her parents, Cindy and Keith, and her younger brother, Andrew. Ollie enjoyed a happy and mostly uneventful childhood. During her teenage years at Lindbergh High School, she was active in cheerleading, track, and golf. She also served in student government, was inducted into the National Honor Society, and had a strong dedication to helping others. Her commitment to service took her abroad to Africa and South America, where she taught English to children in rural, underserved areas. In high school, Ollie was inseparable from her best friend, Maddie Norris. They even went to prom together. While many of her friends chose to stay in state for college, Ollie was determined to attend Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi. She was drawn to the university's rich history, its charming southern vibe, and its renowned football team. Ollie also hoped Ole Miss would be where she met her future husband. With her outstanding academic record, her admission to Ole Miss was never in doubt. She graduated high school in February and moved to Oxford that fall. From the moment she arrived, Ollie instantly fell in love with Ole Mississippi. She planned to major in business and marketing, with dreams of pursuing a career in the fashion industry after graduation. But Ollie wasn't one to spend all her time buried in books. She quickly made friends and threw herself into numerous on- and off-campus activities, seizing every chance to enjoy college life. In February, Ollie met Brandon Teisfeld, a fellow student from Fort Worth, Texas. They were immediately attracted to each other, despite their very different personalities. Ollie was well-liked, ambitious, and optimistic, leaving a positive impression on almost everyone she encountered. Brandon, on the other hand, was seen by many as arrogant, spoiled, and misogynistic. He often made offensive comments about women, boasted about his wealthy family, and claimed his father could get him out of any trouble. It's unclear whether Brandon acted this way around Ollie, or if she was simply drawn to the bad boy image, but the two quickly started dating. They often went to parties and sorority or fraternity events together. But Ollie's friends said their relationship was far from healthy. Brandon rarely treated Ollie with the respect she deserved, often making rude or insensitive remarks, disappearing without explanation, or otherwise hurting her emotionally. Her friends frequently comforted her after Brandon's thoughtless actions and urged her to move on. Despite all this, Ollie managed to balance her turbulent relationship alongside her studies, social life, and extracurricular activities. By February 2019, with graduation just a year away, Ollie seemed to be in good spirits. When her parents came to visit from St. Louis that spring, they had such a great time that Ollie asked them to stay longer. But as they parted ways, tensions between Ollie and Brandon were on the verge of escalating. On April 12, 2019, Ollie texted Brandon to tell him she might be pregnant. Though she would have preferred to tell him face-to-face, they hadn't been seeing each other regularly. Brandon didn't respond to her first message. But 2 days later, Ollie sent him a photo of an inconclusive home pregnancy test. Eventually, Brandon replied, but not in the supportive way Ollie had hoped. His message coldly urged her to terminate the pregnancy, insisting that having a child would ruin his life. He made it clear he would not support the baby and wouldn't change his mind. For Ollie, who was kind-hearted and caring, his harsh response must have been heartbreaking. Meanwhile, Brandon began looking up morning-after pills and local abortion clinics online. As summer neared, most of Ollie's friends left Oxford for the break, but she stayed behind. It's unclear why, but she may have wanted to sort things out with Brandon. In mid-July, Brandon visited Fort Worth and posted a photo of a Glock Model 22.4 caliber pistol his father had given him, captioning it, "Finally taking my baby back to Oxford." After returning to Oxford on July 16th, Brandon searched online for gun silencers, tactical face masks, hollow point bullets, and even information about serial killer Ted Bundy. On the evening of Friday, July 19th, Ollie's mother Cindy called to check in. Ollie had just woken up from a nap and mentioned she was planning to go out that night. She met up with friends at a bar in Oxford Square, but around 9 p.m., Brandon messaged asking if he could come over. Ollie agreed, possibly hoping they could patch things up. She left the bar shortly after 11:30 p.m. and took an Uber home. At 12:46 a.m., surveillance footage showed Brandon's Chevy pickup near Ollie's apartment at the retreat. By 1:14 a.m., the truck was seen driving away in the opposite direction. GPS data showed their phones moving together towards Sardis Lake between 1:14 and 1:55 a.m. Around 2 a.m., nearby residents reported hearing multiple gunshots. The next morning, Brandon called a friend saying his apartment was being fumigated and asked if he could stay there. He arrived around 10 a.m. and left at 1:30 p.m. after searching online for news about Sardis, Mississippi. Before dawn on Saturday, July 20th, 2019, a Lafayette County deputy patrolling near Sardis Lake came across a horrifying sight. As he rounded a corner, his headlights revealed the lifeless body of a young woman lying face down. She had been shot multiple times in the back, and spent-caliber shell casings were scattered on the ground nearby. This grim discovery marked the beginning of a tragic investigation into Ollie Kostial's last moments. The deputy immediately called for an ambulance and a crime scene investigator. When the ambulance arrived, they found Ollie's purse lying by the roadside. Shortly after, Lafayette County investigator Jared Bundren showed up and located Ollie's driver's license and University of Mississippi ID inside the purse. Bundren, a seasoned investigator, was deeply affected by the scene. He had never seen a victim shot so many times before. Though Ollie's phone was missing, the belongings in her purse were enough to confirm her identity. In the early morning hours, Cindy and Keith Kostial received every parent's worst nightmare: a heartbreaking call from the police. As word of Ollie's murder spread, her family, friends, and sorority sisters were left reeling with shock and grief. Maddie Norris, Ollie's close high school friend, was particularly devastated. To find the killer, investigators began interviewing Ollie's friends and acquaintances, and nearly everyone pointed to one person: Brandon Theisfeld. Although Ollie's phone was never found, many of her text messages with Brandon had been backed up to her Apple account, offering vital evidence. On Sunday morning, July 21st, investigators reached out to Brandon, asking him to come in for questioning. He claimed he was busy but promised to show up the following morning at 8:30 a.m. Already considered a person of interest, Brandon didn't keep his appointment, prompting the police to obtain an arrest warrant citing exigent circumstances and the risk he might flee. Cell phone tracking revealed Brandon was driving north on Interstate 55 toward Memphis, Tennessee. Law enforcement agencies were put on alert to watch for Brandon's black Chevy pickup truck, bearing the license plate T3I. The Memphis Police Department's fugitive task force swiftly tracked him down at a gas station near the interstate and arrested him without any resistance. During the search of his truck, officers discovered a .40 caliber Glock handgun. Brandon was then extradited to Lafayette County, Mississippi, just days after Ollie's murder. However, investigators still needed concrete evidence to directly tie him to the crime. A search of his apartment uncovered a troubling, unsent letter addressed to his parents. In it, Brandon admitted to battling dark thoughts, worsened by his frequent cocaine and alcohol use. He ominously suggested that he felt his end was near, alluding to a bleak future involving either imprisonment or death, though it was unclear whether this hinted at suicidal intentions or a possible violent clash with law enforcement. Additional evidence surfaced as investigators reviewed his devices and social media. GPS data revealed that both Brandon's and Ollie's phones had been in nearly identical locations before and after her death, indicating he likely took her phone from the crime scene and disposed of it afterward. A search of Brandon's social media accounts uncovered troubling posts, including a tweet on the very day Ollie's body was found. The tweet referenced the 1982 hit song, "You Dropped a Bomb on Me," which investigators believed was a veiled reference to Ollie's supposed pregnancy. Ironically, the medical examiner's report later showed that Ollie had never been pregnant. Ballistic testing confirmed that the bullets used in Ollie's murder matched Brandon's Glock handgun, further strengthening the case against him. On August 20th, 2019, a Mississippi grand jury indicted Brandon Theisfeld on a charge of capital murder. The indictment accused him of kidnapping Ollie prior to killing her, which raised the charge from first-degree murder. Despite the growing evidence, Brandon's father publicly defended him in a controversial interview with a Mississippi TV station, insisting on his son's innocence and asking the public to withhold judgment until the trial. Meanwhile, Ali's friends and family held a memorial to celebrate her life and remember the deep impact she had on everyone who knew her. Many people took to social media to express their outrage and disgust toward Brandon for allegedly committing such a brutal and senseless crime. Brandon's trial was delayed nearly 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Although Brandon initially pleaded not guilty to the capital murder charge, his defense attorney soon requested that he be released on a reasonable bond. However, before the judge ruled, the attorney instead asked for Brandon to remain in custody while undergoing a psychiatric evaluation. This move appeared to be a tactic to prepare for a possible plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. Yet, the evaluation determined that Brandon was sane and competent to stand trial. By late 2020, after lengthy negotiations between the prosecution and defense, the charge was reduced from capital murder to first-degree murder. In the summer of 2021, Brandon changed his plea and quickly admitted guilt. As part of the plea deal, he took the stand and provided a detailed account of the crime he committed. The courtroom was heavy with emotion as members of both the Kostial and Fiesfeld families, along with a dozen of Ali's friends and sorority sisters, gathered to attend the trial. The mood was understandably tense and deeply heartbreaking. Although Brandon testified, neither he nor his lawyer revealed a clear motive for the murder. However, Lafayette County District Attorney Ben Creekmore stated that Brandon killed Ali because he didn't want to have a child. This was especially heartbreaking for everyone in the group, since it had already been confirmed that Ali was never pregnant. The trial itself was relatively straightforward and lacked dramatic moments, as Brandon had already confessed and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. Consequently, he was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment at the Mississippi State Penitentiary, commonly known as Parchman Farm. Under Mississippi law, individuals convicted of first-degree murder might become eligible for release after serving 15 years or upon turning 65. Still, there is no guarantee Brandon will ever be released, and he may spend the rest of his life behind bars. Following the verdict, Brandon expressed remorse to Cindy and Keith Kostial, apologizing for taking their daughter's life and the immense pain he caused. He said he wished he could undo what he did, asked for God's forgiveness, and hoped that one day the Kostial family might find it in their hearts to forgive him as well. Ali's parents' statements were read aloud in court by Lafayette County Assistant District Attorney Mickey Mallett. Cindy Kostial's statement expressed the profound connection she had with her daughter and the indescribable pain of their loss. She called Brandon a cruel and evil monster and wished that every time his cell door closed, he would be reminded of the terrible crime he had committed. Both Cindy and Keith confessed they were still struggling to accept the reality. Keith shared that sometimes he feels as if Ali is just away at Ole Miss, and that it's only a matter of time before they see her again. After the conviction, Brandon's parents issued a statement. His mother, Carrie, expressed her shock upon hearing that her son was under investigation for such a crime. She and her husband had been unaware of Brandon's emotional difficulties. While they admitted their son's guilt, Carrie encouraged other parents to maintain open communication with their children, stressing that no problem should ever be too big or too sensitive to talk about. If you found this case fascinating, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.